What's up? What's up? Earl Skakel in the house. Just checking in, hoping that everyone is having a good post Thanksgiving week. It's time to get to the gym. It's time to burn off all the calories and massive amounts of food we've all eaten. I just got back from hot shave, and I watched the debate between two shitty governors, and it was really a um, fascinating debate between two guys saying the other guy's doing a worse job than they are. I mean, I can't think that Gavin Newsom can sit there and look at Ron DeSantis and go, you're not doing a good job. I live in Los Angeles. Gavin Newsom is the coach. And you know what happens when the team ain't winning? The coach gets fired. And Gavin Newsom needs to be fired. I mean, let's take a look at, and people don't understand this about California. It's a Democratic state, Democratic House, Democratic Senate. Most mayors are Democratic. Not all, but most. He's got no excuse. It's not like he's a Democratic governor in Texas. That would be tough. But basically, anything Gavin Newsom wants to do, he can do with impunity. Good evening, Juan Santos one. And if you look at California, I live in Los Angeles, basically. I mean, I live in West Hollywood, but let's just say Los Angeles. But West Hollywood really mirrors the state. It's increased crime. I mean, I'm moving because I don't feel safe walking my dog in this neighborhood. Increased traffic, increased botching of, crisis like the 10 freeway. They still don't know what's going on. Earthquakes, it's always a disaster. It's just job rates plummeting. And he's going to look out at DeSantis and go, yeah, Florida sucks because of you. Well, Mr. Newsom, California sucks because of you. And you want to run for president? Interesting insight always from Peter Brennan. I can't believe it, to be honest with you. But I will say this about Leslie. One night we made out at Roast Battle, and she's a good kisser, I got to be honest with you. But let's keep on point. By the way, Peter, you never answered my question the other night. I think we've built up a rapport of sorts. I asked you, what was the name of the Comedy Store rumor dirt sheet? It had a very particular name. Well, I think in Leslie's case, if she was fucking nice to people and, like, didn't run the light and, she's just overall a bitch. Ah, it is the bingo, the Comedy Store Gazette. It's really putting you in the bullseye of who I think you are. But you're also in the Kevin Brennan world too. That's throwing me off because the person I think it is, I don't think would be in the Melton Kevin Brennan world. Beloved chatter in the house. We got some Dabbleverse people coming in. Now this is a Dabbleverse light stream. Um, I answer all questions. So if you have a Dabbleverse question, I will do my best to answer it. But I like to keep the name calling and the doxing here at a minimum. Even though I gave out my home address last night on stage at the Comedy Store. Who is Peter Brennan? I've got it down to one of two people, but I will not blow up his spot. Or it might be a female, the ultimate ruse. A lot of people think I'm stand up Batman on Twitter. It's a Tom Cassidy. Tom Cassidy doesn't know about the Comedy Store Gazette. Get out of town. I love Tom Cassidy. His performance on the Kevin Brennan roast was epic. Unfortunately, Night Moose, he's so busy that, I mean, let's be honest, I don't have a giant podcast, so he's heading the big podcast first, and I get that. I mean, you'd think me being his cousin, he would at least do it out of pity for me, but hopefully sooner than later. That could be the episode that gets inappropriate Earl back into the mix, if you will. Um, so because I would do a good job. I mean, we're family for God's sakes. Yeah, yeah, because Kevin, like, I would say that Peter Brennan is more West Coast because, just like his line the other night about Bushman's daughter, like, that's a deep, deep cut into the world of the Los Angeles comedy scene. And he slowly is revealing themselves. But if you go on Twitter and look up Stand Up Batman, they are very it's very Earl-like in terms of their tweeting. So that's why everyone thought it was me, Eddie Ifft, Michael Costa. DeSantis is done. Him running in 2024 was a yeah, was a bigger mistake than Billy Squires' "Rock Me Tonight" video. Yeah, well, I mean, I think DeSantis is like this generation's Jeb Bush. Like he should be winning. Like he's good looking. I mean, he's a little stiff, but he's a good talker on the stick. But he's got the same problem Jeb Bush has. He just doesn't have a good personality. I mean, Gavin Newsom looks like a soap opera star, and he is slicker on the mic. Now, if you go at his performance in California, it's horrible. I mean, I live here, man, and I'm not a Republican. Like, I'm really an independent, the truest version of an independent. I'm in the middle because I think both sides are full of shit. Well, you'd have to have Tommy for you to be Tommy Morris, Peter. You'd have to have a working internet and a computer, so that rules Tommy out. What up, William Zoo? No, well, yeah, Dottie's good. She's good. She doesn't have loose lips. Uh, I don't think he's gonna win improv in 2028 or 3028. He just, you know, politics isn't so much about the best person winning. It's about the best presentation. And he just is too stiff. Like some people have it. Like, you could tell Newsom was made to be a bullshitting um, politician. politician. He's just in his blood. He gets off on the probably the free dinners he gets, and it's like the typical when he had the mask mandate out here, the social distancing, and then he's at that one restaurant, and I think Northern California, where he's with 12 people at a table, no one's wearing a mask, and this is at the height of I think he had just given a speech that day, mask up and don't sit next to people. Um, I don't think they do, beloved chatter. I got to be honest with you. I don't think like Jimmy Carter had no charisma. Um, I think I don't know if I would say George Bush Senior had charisma. Um, I mean, George Bush Junior, I think, had that weird, like you want to go to a ball game with him and have beers. Yes, I mean, I like that. Well, I think DeSantis means well. Yeah, I mean, Gerald Ford, not exactly the life of the party. I think the best charisma presidents since I've been alive. I mean, you could tell JFK had it. He just had it. RFK would have been a very charismatic president, great speaker. Um, I mean, Reagan, obviously, but Reagan had the acting chops. Um, obviously Clinton, great speaker. Obama, um, was like The Rock. And I often compare them. Like you listen to Obama, and he's like, oh my God, this guy's such a great orator. And then you kind of break down the actuality of what he's saying, and it's kind of like a wrestling promo. You're like, oh, this sounds good, but what the hell is he talking about? Yeah, Nixon wasn't great on the stick. RFK was your RFK, yes. JFK, RFK are my uncles. Uh, Rob, the OG RFK was my dad's sister's brother. My dad's sister, Ethel Kennedy. If you look it up, her last name is Ethel Skakel. Uh, George Bush Jr. had some. George Bush Sr. Not much, to be honest. Um, and Trump, listen, the guy's a maniac, but he's got that. He's like Kurt Russell in used cars. He'll just say anything. I mean, didn't he accuse the judge's wife today of being a racist or something? Like what? Obama is very charismatic. Oh my God. Oh wow. That is, it's definitely not Tom Cassidy now. A Johnny Zapp reference. And it's actually Dean Gelber, not Gilbert. So you're slipping, Peter. If I thought when I entitled this YouTube video DeSantis versus Newsom debate analysis that 13 minutes in, we'd get a Johnny Zapp reference. I would have done it yesterday. Zap attack. Zapp, iconic. I still to this day don't know what he did. Like he just was always at the Comedy Store. He's just always there. He was like I think he was like a rich guy, like kind of like a Melrose Larry Green. He just liked the Comedy Store. I mean, the Comedy Store draws in the freaks, brother. Oh, yeah, 3-minute warning. That's a good reference. Yeah, Johnny Zapp definitely did lie. Yeah. I gave Kinnison a start. He kind of laughed like Jim the Anvil. Yeah. I told Dice to get into comedy. What do I think of The Rock? I mean, who asked that question about The Rock? Uh, Johnny, he would win. That shows you how crazy this country is. That a ex-pro wrestler with zero political experience, he would kill Trump or Biden in a debate. I mean, look at just the visual difference between the three of those guys. Here you have Biden, who looks pretty frail. Trump just looks bloated and just he looks horrible right now. And then you've got The Rock, who is probably in his 40s, looking jacked, his smile. every woman in the country probably would fuck him. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I like it. It's getting down to the nitty gritty, right now because, uh, I talked today on another podcast about ageism in stand-up comedy, which I experience a lot because I'm one of the older working comics, but you can tell I get passed up on some other gigs because of my age. I mean, I had a manager the other day tell me, "You're just too old. You're too polished. I can't mold you." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm funny, right?" It's like, "You're very funny," but, you know, it's like, "What?" That's how crazy stand-up is. So they would rather, obviously I'm 55, she would rather, and I appreciated her honesty, but she literally was telling me, "I'd rather mold a 25-year-old person who's not funny into what I think is funny. I can't do that with you. But, call me if you get something," she said. I mean, what? How about help me get something, you bitch? Just kidding. Are they going to I think that I don't know if they're gonna get rid of Biden. I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, you look at, what are the alternative? I mean, Newsom is the alternative, but I don't know if, uh I don't know if he's ready yet. I mean, I think Trump would eat him up alive, but, Newsom's pretty good in terms of debating. So, but Trump turns it into a circus. Newsom is like Tesla, the band, and then Trump is like Kiss, Bardem. Uh, yeah, well, I mean, Reagan was an actor, a Western actor. So, like, it sounds crazy to say that a pro wrestler who ran the Nation of Domination could get white people to vote for him, but he probably will. I mean, I've met The Rock once, and he's very good at working the room. Like, it was a Monday Night Raw many years ago in Anaheim, and I was in the VIP area, and The Rock came in and literally walked up to me and said, "Thank you for coming, man. I really appreciate it." And he said that to everyone. And it's like, this guy gets it. And then Stone Cold walked in, and he was kind of a dick to everyone, like very quiet and standoffish. It's like, okay. Um, I know. Well, I mean, it is what it is, Dottie. I mean, I can't. Yeah, but Rodney Dangerfield, he popped right around my age, so the clock is ticking for me. But it was kind of shocking to hear that. Hi, you're funny, but you're too polished. I mean, stand-up comedy is the only job where being good at it, in a weird way, almost works against you. But what are you going to do? I mean, I would never vote for Newsom in any capacity. And the thing in California, Dottie, is I don't know where you live. Like I said, it's a Democratic state. I mean, not all, most of the major offices are held by Democrats. So he's got free reign to do whatever he wants. Like, the mayors are mostly Democratic, the houses and senates mostly Democratic, city councils are mostly Democratic. So it's not like he's going to have trouble getting laws or whatever he wants done passed. And still, look at our state; it's horrible. Crime, traffic, homelessness, overdevelopment, lack of looking at the future and going, this is the wave of the future. Gas prices through the roof. Now, the gas prices aren't all his fault, but why is gas, $6, $7 a gallon? And when I would go to Alabama, it was like $2, like the same fucking gas. So, oh, I did. The last roast battle I did was at battling my friend Robin Tran at Clusterfest in San Francisco. I know that's what I just said. I mean, how are you going to handle the country when you can't handle California? Come to California, see for it yourself. Why did Joe Rogan move to Austin? Joe Rogan loves California, but he doesn't love living here. And I can look at I would say 30, 40% of my comedy friends are going to Austin. It's no state income tax. You could buy a mansion for $200,000. $200,000 share, that's not even a down payment on a shithole. Um, Ahmed Johnson for vice president. I don't know about that. Well, here's the thing. I do believe Biden won the election. I'm not a conspiracy guy. But my problem with the 81 million votes is Biden for 50 years has been a pretty vanilla politician. You really can't name too much he's done. I mean, if he wasn't VP for Obama, you really couldn't name anything he's done. All of a sudden, he gets 81 million votes. Now, I believe he beat Trump, but like, it's like Biden getting 81 million votes is like um, who like the band who hasn't had a platinum record since the 80s, like Y&T all of a sudden in 2024 selling 5 million units of a record. Like, wait a minute, you guys haven't sold 100,000 units in almost 30 years. Now you got 5 million. Like that's like the analogy that I can come up with. um who needs a new booker, Johnny? Gutfeld? By the way, tweet at Gutfeld to get daddy on it. But I went to San Francisco for Clusterfest, and like, dude, I was in a really nice hotel. Like, I'll give Comedy Central that. Of course, they made me pay at a discount. Like, you invite me to the festival, but I'm paying for my hotel. What? Uh, and as soon as I walk out to go to the Bill Graham Theater, guy shitting in the middle of the street. No, and it's like you guys watching me do this stream right now. Nobody cared. I go to 7-Eleven to get an energy drink. Guy doing heroin opens the door for me. Blood splurting out all over the place. And the inside of that 7-Eleven looked like a corner on the wire. And that's Newsom at his finest. Go to Frisco. Like, if you think, oh, you just don't like LA, go to Frisco and see what you think of Newsom's job. That fucking goon. I'm in Illinois. All of your governors go to jail. Shout out to Rod Blagojevich, whatever his name was. He was good on The Apprentice. Uh, well, thank you, William. But still, it's like weird to me that California is 6, $7, and when I would go home with Chandler to visit her parents in Alabama, I'm like, I'm not saying I would have lived there, but like, god damn, gas is $2 a gallon here, and like, next door to her parents' house was this beautiful mansion. I mean, it was a mansion, like acres, and like a beautiful stone brick mansion, and it was for sale. And I called the realtor's office, $500,000. That mansion on my street in Los Angeles would be 7 to $10 million. Yeah, but I mean, that's beloved chatter. Like the Enos, a great reference. They had the one hit, Fly High Michelle. I don't even think they had a platinum record, but they had a gold record. And Biden getting 81 million votes in 2020 is literally like enough's enough getting a quadruple platinum album in 2024. It's just like, what? Um, I mean, I would love to be on Joe's podcast, but like, you don't ask him. Like, maybe if you guys tweet, "Hey, when's Earl?" He might see. I mean, he might see that and go, "Yeah, I should have Earl on." But I can't ask him directly. It's just I don't like it when people ask me to do my podcast. It's like if I wanted you on, I'd ask you, and I'm sure that's how Joe thinks. And obviously, I'm not comparing doing my podcast to his, but so tweet at him. I'm not trying to get you guys to do my dirty work. I'm being honest. Like, I can't ask him. And I would be a top 10 guest. I would go nuts on that. I would be like I was on Corolla once I felt comfortable. Well, I'm not a big older comic. Right now, I'm just an older comic. But like if this YouTube channel blew up or the stream blew up and in a year from now I have 100, 200,000 subscribers and it's I don't think that manager I met with would tell me I was too old. Oh, I thought you were great. But I love Alabama. Like I really like I could see myself having a second home there. You beat Jimmy Carr and Jimmy Carr was on Rogan. I know, it's just the way the business works. But if you tweeted that out to Joe, like, "Hey Joe, you had Jimmy Carr on. Why don't you have the guy who beat Jimmy Carr on?" Who knows? He might see it. Um, I mean, I'm not but see, here's the thing about Rogan. I don't know if he would want to talk about the UFC with me. Um, but I can hold my own with like I would make Joe laugh about some of my favorite fighters. Like from the earlier days, like, Gary Goodridge and Paul the Headhunter Buonatello. Or tweet it again, lambda, lambda, lambda. I mean, please. I can't like it because, I think someone told me if you put the period mark right before the at sign, like period at Joe Rogan, it goes to the top of his thing. But I don't understand Twitter like that. Most likely to happen, Mencia on Rogan or Dante on here. I mean, listen, I would have Dante on, but I think he would walk off in 2 minutes because I'd be like, you repped a rapist for 5 years and you knew he was. And you only fired him once it got too hot. That's Ron Jeremy, was repped by Golden Artist Entertainment. That's a fact. Yeah, but I don't want to talk. I don't. I wouldn't. I mean, I probably would do it, but I don't want to be on with Tony. I want my own standalone episode with Joe. You know, because I'd probably walk off if me and Tony were on it, because he would like, he would feel protected talking shit to me with Joe in the room, and I'd be like, hey, bro, don't disrespect me on this podcast, because Joe can beat the shit out of me, but I'm quicker than Joe, so be nice or there'll be problems. Um, Yeah, well, he said he would do it, Peter Gallagher. Oh, yeah. I know, I like Tony. I mean, I mean, we haven't been friendly since we got into a debate about Jeff Ross, and, I think you guys can decide who was on what side. But, Tony's the one on Roast Battle who got me my Canadian shorts when I was battling Tiana, and then if I beat Tiana, I would have been in the finale, like the final match. And just because it was in Canada, I said, "Tony," because he had lost to K. Trevor Wilson, and so he was just hanging. I'm like, "Dude, can you go outside and get me a pair of underwear with anything Canadian on it? I don't care I don't care if it's a Canadians, like the hockey team logo or anything." And Tony got me the perfect pair of shorts with a big maple leaf right where my PP was. So, I mean, I guess we're still friends, but we don't talk much. Um, yeah, the Idol Maker's great. And I think I said this last time, I think they could do it about comedy too, and, I love the ending, even though Ray Sharkey was a piece of shit as a human. He for those of you who don't know, he knowingly infected people with HIV. He had it, he knew it. So it's like the singer from Badlands, Ray Gillen, did the same shit. It just sucks because one of my favorite TV shows in the early mid '80s was Wise Guy, and he was one of the guys in it. And Idolmaker is one of my favorite movies. Yeah, I mean, he denied it having it, but like, it's like it's one of the great documentaries I've seen in the last 15 years. I think it was on Showtime called Patient Zero, and it's about Mark Wallace, the porn actor, and he had HIV and he had infected, I think, like 5 actresses. And it's probably the most haunting thing I've ever seen in my life. The one girl he infected, they had only done one scene together. They'd never had sex before. They had only had sex once in that scene. And they show the scene, and you are literally watching a girl get HIV. And it's just like, wow. Well, no, I mean, that I don't know where you got that idea. His name was Randy Stone, and he was the head of one of the heads of casting at Fox. Like, he casted X Files, Millennium, and I think that he was trying to casting couch me, and he lured me in by saying, "Do you want to meet Brittany Murphy?" He didn't tell me for what at the time. So, like, when he got done trying to like do whatever he was trying to do with me, and he knew that was going to happen, I was like, "Where's Brittany Murphy, bro?" And he took me into the table read. I think it was the original table read, the pilot, maybe, or maybe it was the first episode after the pilot for King of the Hill. And there's like Mike Judge, and there's Brittany Murphy, and I got to meet her, and she was actually really nice. And then he tried one more time to like do whatever he wanted to do with me, and he died. a while ago. So, but it's so weird to me now when I watch Millennium, which is one of my favorite 3 season or under series. There's always a role for a guy like a young, good-looking dude, like the UPS guy or the guy working the creepy hotel where the murderer is staying. And I'm like, man, I know how they got that role. Yes, but Mark Wallace still. Um, well, I thought it was called a Patient Zero, but maybe it was Porndemic, or maybe it was a series, and his episode was called Patient Zero. But yeah, they show that one girl, and like it was, they had never had sex before. They'd never, I don't think they'd ever met before. So the only way she got HIV was through that one scene with him, and they show the scene, and it's just like, uh, did I? Man, you are really going deep. Not only with the Johnny Zapp uh, reference, but now a Skeezy. I wasn't there when Tony got punched by Skeezy, and Skeezy was crazy strong. So, I'm sure Tony mouthed off to him, and that would be one where I wouldn't defend Tony. I'd be like, "Hey, you started it, you finish it." Millennium's a great show. It just, I think the problem was two things. One, it was too dark for Channel 11, Fox. Um, I think the first episode was the guy who, the bomber, and he liked to jack off while watching the bombs explode. And I remember going, wow, this is pretty nuts for Fox. And then I think season two, Chris Carter left to do some other project, maybe an X Files movie. So he handed it off to two guys, and it wasn't a bad show, but it wasn't the Millennium that Chris Carter had done. And then I think he came back in season three, and it just wasn't the same. Um, but I love me some Lance Henriksen. Um, it kind of reminded me, there was one season show called The Inside. It was either The Inside or The Insider. Maybe it was The Inside, with Rachel Nicholson, who plays a female profiler of serial killers. And one of my favorite episodes was the great Hart Bachner. Ellis from Die Hard played a serial killer. And it's a very different take on. There's a very different look on Hart Bachner after you've seen him so many times as Ellis in Die Hard. But it did not. It was very dark. It was just too much for Fox, I think. Now, if FX had been around, I could have seen both shows with a longer run, because Rachel Nichols, like, she was really good on it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Charlie Sheen did infect people with HIV. I mean, he fucked hundreds of women, probably thousands. Yeah, Art Bell was great. I mean, Kiss guest starred on it. I mean, a lot of good guest stars, but they just, I don't know. I mean, the first season was really good, and I think it was led in with the X Files, so it had a good lead in. But I think when the two other guys, Glenn something, and his partner, they took over. It's kind of like when Michael Mann left Miami Vice to do Crime Story, and Dick Wolf kind of came in, and it was just different. It wasn't bad, but it was just different. Did you ever watch the X Files where they? I did. I don't remember it. I think it was season 7 where Frank Black came in. Okay, I might be wrong then. I could have sworn it was called Patient Zero. But a lot of people don't know this. Peter Brennan, you are killing me right now. Uh, the original two choices for Terminator were Lance Henriksen, and I believe there's some super site of the Terminator movie has a picture of Lance Henriksen in the Terminator outfit, but I guess James Cameron said he wasn't intimidating enough. And then O.J. Simpson, and this is in some DVD of the Terminator, that the casting director didn't buy him as a killer. Who got all of Jeff Scott's costumes? I can actually answer that. I moved out Jeff Scott's apartment with Richie, the manager, and Curtis, who's now managing, I believe, the Mothership in Austin. We took them all to a Comedy Store warehouse somewhere in the valley, and they're either still there, or I'm assuming Jeff's family might have taken them. Oh, I used to go to sleep listening to Art Bell. I used to have the best. Here was my Sunday nights. Um, the Drudge Report from 7 to 10. Now I got that on KFI. That would lead into Art Bell, and then this is a random ass radio show. But Bill Bennett had some show on, I think, Air America or something. That he was a scumbag, but I enjoyed his radio show. But Drudge was so funny to me, and I every now and then will track down a random Drudge Report archive audio clip. He was so funny to me. Just the way he would fuck with callers. And he's really where I kind of like, I want to do comedy like this. Like I don't think his callers know he's gay, really. So he had that gay cattiness mixed in with his observations. It was just really funny for me. Anthony Fauci was important. I don't remember it very much. Yes, R.I.P. Jeff Scott. I miss him a lot. He's he was a Comedy Store icon, Comedy Store legend, good friend. He would when he Halloween parade, which is pretty iconic in West Hollywood. He would use my garage as a staging area because I live right by the boulevard. He was a good man, and always, if he liked you and the crowd was tough, he would stay and like when the crowd was tough for me, he'd always play the Village People song "Milkshake," and it got the crowd going every time. Uh, but if he didn't like you, and there were a lot of comics he didn't like, he would just leave the room, smoke pot in the back. No, Lance was great, and also he was in, what was that Van Damme movie where Lance Henriksen was some rich guy and they were doing the bounty hunters for like Vietnam vets. It was like a hunting, some kind of hunting game, and the great Arnold Vosloo, one of my favorite 80s, 90s bad guys. Have I ever experienced any paranormal stuff or seen any UFOs? It's funny, sometimes when I'm depressed or whatever, I drive out to Malibu at night at like 1 or 2 in the morning. It's so pretty, and there's no traffic, and it's really dark, and it's just something mystical about it. So as I'm driving back, I saw like a I'm sure it was just a shooting star, but it was something that looked like it was coming right at me, and I'm, like, literally stopped in the middle of PCH, like, which is unheard of, but there's no traffic at whatever time it was, 2 or 3 in the morning, and it was just like, you know, I think, "Is this coming?" It looked, at least optically, like it was coming right at me, but, paranormal stuff. Well, actually, the other night, now, I live in my condo that I bought, I guess the guy who lived here before me died of AIDS, which is not surprising because I'm the only straight guy in my building. But the other night I was taking a nap or sleeping, and I woke up and I jumped out of my bed because the I thought there was a cat in my bed. Like I saw a cat at the bottom of my bed, and it was just like an optical, like there was no cat. I think I was dreaming, and I woke up, and I don't know. I was still in a dream state, and it was what the fuck. Um, So, and I had some things happen at the Comedy Store. Jesus, a Chewy reference. Interesting. Yes, Hard Target. But the bad guy, I don't have any. Chewy was kind of a dick to me the 1 or 2 times I interacted with him, but he was probably too busy selling coke out of the parking lot. Uh, Arnold Vosloo, I think that's how you say his name. He was also the bad guy in I think season 4 of 24, and he was only supposed to be in for 1 episode, but he was so good they made him the bad guy for the whole season. Um, and he's always. I think he was in The Mummy, and he's been in some things. I mean, he's that stereotypical. You see his face, but you don't know his name. So yeah, Hard Target was a. I think wasn't Yancey Butler in that. I was talking with someone. Was it you, William? We were talking about Yancey Butler. Um, like like she was so beautiful, but then you could tell like she definitely was getting the Jenny Wright look, boozing it up, and like if you look at Jenny Wright in Wildlife, wow, like I don't have a type per se, but I was in love with Jenny Wright in The Wildlife. Um, but then this booze. Yancey Butler too. I mean, Yasmin Bleeth, and it's gonna happen to Tiffany Haddish, 2 DUIs, like, that's like, she's got the money to pay for it, but, like, man, I'm glad I don't drink. I mean, I'm aging now, but, and I've never had a drop. Can you imagine if I drank? Whew. So, yeah, I mean, check out Millennium. I think I don't know if it's on any streaming networks, and, I'm pretty sure it's not. I think X-Files is. The great Mitch Pileggi. Uh, well, I'm sure she drank though. I mean, she did hard drugs for sure. Like if you look at, there was some picture I think at the height of her drug use where she looks totally unrecognizable. But I will say, when I had her on my podcast, what was that, a year and a half ago? Like you could definitely tell she was weathered, but she seemed to be pretty healthy. I mean, her boyfriend, I don't know, he didn't really add a lot to the interview, but like she wouldn't do it without him. So that was weird. I thought, well, you're a grown woman, like, because he would like, we'd get, me and Jenny would get in a good train of thought, and then he would pop in with an observation, and it just kind of threw both me and Jenny off. But like, she was very nice. We still talk a little bit. Uh, so feels like we're living in the They Live movie. What do you mean by that, Night? Am I missing, Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I've seen or heard at least Ghost at the Comedy Store, and, the Comedy Store is pretty haunted. I felt a very, very, very dark energy at the Queen Mary, not the gay bar in the valley, but the boat. When I went in the engine room and I asked someone who worked there, they're like, "Oh yeah, a bunch of people drowned in there, back in the day." I mean, it was just weird, William. Like he was a nice guy and all, but I could tell, he's sitting right next to her, like almost like if I asked her some wacky question, he could nudge her and say, don't answer that." Okay, what up, Ching Lee? Yeah, I mean, I have the DVDs, but I don't even have a DVD player anymore, so I can't watch them. I mean, I'm sure you could find them on YouTube. I mean, but the show sadly wasn't that popular. Um, which is really is very similar to when Michael Mann, he went from Miami Vice to Crime Story, going, "I need my next show, I need my next hit," and it was kind of the similar fate, but that only got 2 seasons. And a great cliffhanger at the end of season 2 when the plane's going down with Paulie and Ray Luca, and you don't know if they survived. Um, but it's just I get it. You want your next hit, and so you leave your big hit. And here's an interesting thing: I've been rewatching old episodes of Robert Urick's Vegas, and I didn't know Michael Mann had a part in starting that series. I think he wrote the pilot, and then Aaron Spelling took over, but he Michael Mann got the credit for in every single episode for creating it. And that's a very strange bedfellows, Michael Mann and Aaron Spelling. I mean, I can't think of 2 people who take an opposite approach to TV and or filmmaking. So I thought that was interesting, and I think he was asked about it and he wanted to do like a darker take on Vegas at that time, and I think Aaron Spelling wanted a more just Dallas, Dynasty, Knots Landing vibe. So I would have loved to have seen Michael Mann's take. Probably would have ended up like Thief the movie, which was around the same time. So I always enjoyed Vegas, although not quite as much when I think Judy Landers. She was in season one, and then they got rid of her, and then the sheriff's lady, they got rid of her, and then they brought in Greg Morris from Mission Impossible, and he was good. And then they Tony Curtis kind of disappeared. Tony Curtis is Roth. I got kicked out of the Desert Inn once for paging Dan Tana about 200 times. Did you ever read Kingsley's? Who's Kingsley? I don't know that name. Yeah, Vegas was on Sci-Fi. I think that's where I TiVoed it or whatever you VCR'd it, and then I just saw someone got. I think a girlfriend got me the 3 seasons on DVD package. See, I liked Vegas much more than Spencer for Hire, but yeah, Vegas probably didn't work uh, because I can't imagine the arguments Michael Mann and Aaron Spelling would have about how to portray Dan Tana. That sounds like he would give someone like Stephen J. Cannell his start. I mean, Vegas, I liked the darker episodes. I'll assume Michael Mann had a hand in those, but I didn't like, wow, the Dean 15. Hey, Peter Brennan, do you want to join me for a Danish? Um, the Dean 15. Hello, hello. The Dean 15. Of course, the Dean 15 was an elite group of, thank you for the likes, the 10 likes. The Dean 15 was an elite, it was like a SEAL Team 6 of the Comedy Store manager, Dean Gilbert's friends. You had some of the Dean 15 were a mini Dean, Big Black Rod, I think, and that, Peter Brennan might have more. Yeah, 10th coming in. I'm going to, 12. I mean, you guys are 16. Now numbers are growing. Hit the likes, hit the likes. Do you get nervous doing stand up? Like, were you always comfortable talking in front of crowds? That's a very good question. No one's ever asked me that here. It's more adrenaline, excitement than, oh my God, can I do this? Like last night, I was in closing out the main room. So I'm in the green room by myself, and Kelly Ryan is on stage, and she's a very funny comic, younger comic. And the crowd sucked, but she was doing very well. So I was more excited, more than can I do this? Am I funny? Like, when you're asked to close out the main room of the Comedy Store, you're funny. Because even the booker knows that's a tough spot because it's been famous comic, famous comic, famous comic. Kelly Ryan, who will be famous one day, and then I gotta like wrap it all up in a nice bow and do like 40 minutes. Like I can't just do 15. I've got to do 40 minutes at least, and sometimes an hour because um uh there's people coming in late who haven't gotten their drinks, and there are people who got there a little earlier who haven't paid for their drinks. So it's a tough spot, but I don't necessarily get nervous. Like I know I can do stand up, and I know I'm pretty good at it, but it's more adrenaline. If I was, so you're saying you are not Jeff Danish? Did you ever wear your lucky leaf? Did you wait? Did you wear your lucky leather pants? I don't really have lucky leather pants. It is pressure because it's not, you know, if it was just 15 minutes, you could just do that pretty easily. But Interesting, Peter. Interesting. But you could see, Peter, where I would think you were the Danish. But doing 40 minutes to an hour, man, you gotta like pull every trick in your toolbox out and hope it works. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have maybe pants I wear more than others. Yeah, you don't buy leather pants online. You got to try leather pants on. Because the thing about leather pants that they're not at least tailored, not even custom made, but tailored is they expand. So if you're heavy set, like you know, this is an over example, but if Ralphie May wore leather pants, every cow in the country would be killed. Hello. But leather expands and it shrinks, so you don't want to buy a tight pair of leather pants and then you lose weight and then they look saggy on you. Um, so it's a pain in the ass to go into a store and have them take the measurements and whatnot. Nick, yeah, we're gonna do about 9 more minutes. I try and keep these ones that don't really have a theme going to an hour um, or less, just because I don't want you guys to get burnt out. Um, don't ever call what? Don't ever call it X. I don't know what that means, Chingwei. I mean, I enjoy it. Um, I'm the Todd after years of consultation in yoga. I don't know what that means. Well, sometimes less is better. Like some of the people in the Dabbleverse, they just do it too much, so people get burnt out when it's. But in the Dabbleverse, it's the same topics every day. Like I started this stream talking about Gavin Newsom. We broke into crosstalk, and now I'm trying to expose Peter Brennan and his true identity. Well, that helps me, and it's also probably why I only have 16 people, because I do realize it is what 8:30 right now, so it's getting close to bedtime for people in the Midwest and East, definitely the East Coast. Um, yeah, I have trouble calling it X. I stick to Twitter, but I don't want to do it earlier because then that cuts in on Ray's time, and then if I do it earlier than that, he did wear an orange leather jacket, and I think 1,700 cows were killed in making it. Hello. Um, it's you know, and then Kevin, it's 1 to 4, and then Shuli's in the morning. So I try not to step on anyone's toes, even though I don't think Kevin or Melton or Shuli would care if I'm taking 14 listeners from them. Do you feel safe in California? You must get some credit. Oh, I no, I don't feel safe where I live. To be honest with you, I mean, I mean, there was an armed robbery, I think, about 2 months ago, and well, no longer than 2 months ago, in July, mid-July, 30 feet from my door, a drunk bar patron from Santa Monica Boulevard's walking up to wherever he was going, and three guys get out of an SUV with guns drawn, rob him, beat the shit out of him. And the scary thing is, I was walking lowest at the time. I mean, I don't want to be dramatic and say that could have been me, but like, you know, who knows? Um, yeah, someone just got me some pepper spray. They gave me like a baby bottle of pepper spray. Well, William, I've got my brass knuckles Stephen Piercy gave me, the Mike knuckles. So, and I'm a pretty big guy. And if I was walking Lois and I felt Lois was in danger, I would probably pick her up and throw her into a balcony or over a fence where she couldn't get hurt. And then I'd start swinging. Just, you're gonna kill me, that's fine, but I'm gonna hurt someone, um, before I go. But, who knows? Maybe I'd shit my pants and just, if they started beating the shit out of me, I would just protect Lois and uh, cover up in a ball with her, and hopefully I live. Because I think now, especially on the weekends here, you've got two bars open till 4 a.m. So the gangbangers and thieves, they know that, it's a free for all after, say, midnight, where you've got a bunch of people drunk and coked up. And the problem around here is it's permanent parking, so they tow your car after a while. And so you imagine you're coked up, you go to a bar, you get drinks, and then you come up here and your car's gone and you're just stumbling around distracted. You're a great mark for a robbery. Are Eddie Griffin and Mencia banned at the store? I think Eddie Griffin is still banned. Not sure about Mencia. I mean, I don't think he would call in for spots anymore. But I mean, I saw him once watching the open mic, and I'm not saying he was stealing jokes, but he was just watching an open mic, and I thought, oh, he's getting ideas. And it's like, what famous comic, and he's famous whether you like him or not, he is famous, would watch the open mic at the Comedy Store? And that it hit me, that's exactly what he's doing. He's getting ideas. So which is why I don't watch comedy myself, because I don't wanna take anyone's ideas. I mean, Tommy is like, I think Tommy's somewhere in, like, Costa Rica or something. That's the word on the street. So, I haven't talked to him in quite some time. I mean, every now and then, yeah, you might be right. Yeah, Honduras. That sounds about right. I think his brother or his family owns a resort or something. And, I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to him in a few years. And, it's the sad thing is, if he wouldn't have stolen so much, he'd probably still be the booker. Who knows how comedy would have changed in LA if Adam doesn't become the booker of the store, Rogan and Diaz never come back, and maybe I mean, you talk about the butterfly effect. So many things for the better happen when Tommy um, um, got fired. Like the store got bigger and better. Rogan, got huge, and maybe if Rogan and Joey Diaz and Theo and all those guys don't come back, if Tommy's still the booker, maybe there's no Austin. I mean, that's literally probably doesn't happen. Chad Zumach finished 18th out of 18th in the new comedians in Florida competition. I had a feeling you're lying, uh, beloved Chatter, but maybe you're not. I don't know. People think me and Chad are like best friends, and we are friends, but like I don't know what he's up to. I haven't seen him in person in probably 4 years. Uh, I don't even know how to say your name. Artisher, you can make me cry? I don't know what you're talking about. There's some crosstalk going on that I'm not, well, I mean, Tommy, May, DeLeon, Whitney, and John Caparillo say. Maybe I should read Peter Brennan's tweets or, messages on here. Has Tommy. Pooter. So, Pooter, I think, is my newest friend on Instagram. Thank you for the support. Yeah, you guys follow me wherever: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X. The building doesn't like you. Patreon. Uh, I'm most active on YouTube and Instagram. I tell a few jokey jokes on X, but that's about it. How often do you do these live streams? This week I've done it every day. I'm trying to figure out one day to take off so you guys miss me. I think doing it every day is too much. But I might do it Monday through Friday and then take weekends off. I might do it. Sunday was very good for me, so maybe I'll do it Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. And then if I have a special event or whatever happening at, say, the Comedy Store or whatever, do a stream late night. I want to kind of do a stream at like 3 or 4 in the morning just to see what would happen. No, there is not a set time. Um, it's really when I just feel the mood. You know, and that's why Kevin Brennan is so popular. He does it every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. on the button. And same thing with Melton. You know, Melton's show is 4 a.m. Yeah, 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I just want to see what the numbers would be like. Like last Sunday, I thought, no one's going to listen to this on a Sunday night. And at the peak, I had 37 people. That's the most I've ever had. And like right now, it's 14. So that's. But it also is 8:41 my time, so it's almost midnight back east, and 10:41 in the Midwest. So I didn't figure this to be a bonanza, but I'm glad I did it. We talked a little politics, talked a little comedy, and now I'm gonna go get some dinner because I didn't eat after yoga. I wanted to do this. So I love you guys. I appreciate all the likes and people listening, and to the people who want to see me on Joe Rogan, just tweet at Joe. Maybe it happens. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. That would be great if you could do 3 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you, Gina Bovina. Yeah, I'm just trying to find out what times work for you guys, and obviously, I hope it works for me at some point. I'm a night owl, so I don't. The 3 a.m. stream to me would be great, but like that's not going to be, I feel, too convenient for most everyone else. But I'll do my best, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll probably do a stream after AEW's Rampage is on. We'll start off talking about Rampage, and then we'll just take it from there. So, Earl Skakel, over and out.